go see what they have on the coronavirus. And this right here, this is from the 80s, and I'm gonna show you in a minute, but let's get to it. Now, as you can see right here, take a look what it say right there. You see it? It's 1989. This encyclopedia was published. There you go. It's the same thing. There you go. It's no trick here. Now let's find the corona disease. As you can see, the coronavirus. Let's find it as on this chart right here, because you know already, I told you already, they change shit for the next generation. You see it? Take a look. This is the coronavirus right here. You see it? You see it? What it say across from it? It says the common cold. You see that they say it's a new virus, start from in China, somewhere in China, where they got seafood and livestock. Take a look at that right there, people. And I told you already, so-called encyclopedia of medicine. There you go. They're the one who give you everything that's in it. But pay attention to what they put down in it from 1989 about the coronavirus right there in plain sight. Can you see it? They tell you it's the common cold right there. Just like I make my video the other day, I told you that is no different between this right here and the so-called flu. Why is they pulling this on the masses right here with the coronavirus and your pandemic? You see how easy they got the masses? Go back and check, people. They always do it 100% in, and they basically change over shit for the new generation. That's how they do it.
So these are product labels on different disinfectants and cleaning supplies, disinfecting multi-surface cleaners. The following images show what a product label might look like when capable of killing the most common cold type human coronavirus. Common cold coronavirus. Human coronavirus, causative agent of the common cold. Disinfectants may not be good enough, but as you can see, it's capable of killing the MERS. It should read kills MERS as well. So here's the EPA registration number. Example of the product that kills SARS-related coronavirus. Hard to find Lysol citrus scent antibacterial kitchen cleaner, but it does include human coronavirus, SARS-associated coronavirus. This is on common household cleaners, folks. I mean, are we getting into bizarro world or what with all this? Human coronavirus here. These are on some wipes. And as you scroll down this, I'll put this in the show links. You can review for yourself. Wipes that kill human coronavirus. The brand names: Highmark, Cavi Wipes, Isotex, Rescue Wipes. Kills human coronavirus kill claim in 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds. So it says that by using these wipes, you're killing the human coronavirus. Lysol citrus scents, antibacterial, kitchen cleaner 2, Clorox. Clorox commercial, solutions disinfecting. So are we all to get our disinfectant sprays and get rid of the whole coronavirus? I mean, these are all the products that are allegedly having the coronavirus wiped out, literally, with cleaning products, disinfecting wipes and whatnot. I mean, it just gets more bizarre by the moment. I wanted to show you the human coronavirus types. And again, this is from the Center for Disease Control, which has over 20 patents on vaccines where they profit from the disaster. Coronaviruses are named for the crown-like spikes on their surface. There are 4 main subgroupings known as alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. Human coronaviruses were first identified in the mid-1960s. The 7 coronaviruses that can infect people are the 22NE, the alpha, the NL63, the alpha, the OC43, the beta, and HQU1, the beta coronases. Other viruses are the MERS. This was the respiratory that causes the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS. The SARS, this is the one that was in 2003, the beta coronavirus that causes severe acute respiratory syndrome. And then now we've got the novel coronavirus, or this 219 nCoV, because it's novel. No, they engineered it, they manufactured it, they made it. So just so you know, there's all these different ones. The novel new virus was identified by the Chinese people. The severe acute was recognized in China in 2002, and it spread to North America up in Montreal. And then the MERS, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. So these are all the games they're playing with all the viruses. And so there's not just one IE coronavirus, and there's not just one E placement that's going to make it all better. It have to be scanned. We have to keep learning what it is they're doing with this new virus that they released. And this is just out on January 31st, 2020, New York Times. How bad will the coronavirus get? 6 key factors. So the New York Times is the mouthpiece, along with the Bozos, Washington Post, for getting the information out. So it's supposedly the intelligent readers that are reading this. So how contagious is the virus? Well, they're saying you don't even have to have symptoms showing to have it. That's a whole other realm we're going to get into in a minute. How deadly is the virus? It's hard to know yet, but probably less than 3%. How long does it take to show the symptoms? Here you go, folks. Possibly between 2 to 14 days, allowing the illness to go undetected. You got it, you don't show it, we're going to have to test you and quarantine you. That's what that means. The virus spread quickly because it started in a transportation hub. No, it started at a fish market, you idiots. And you had the bioweapons lab right nearby there, and it was created by Bill Gates Foundation, with the patents being owned by the CDC. Don't fall for the New York Times bullshit. How effectively will the response be? The WHO, get it, WHO, has praised China's efforts, but critics fear lockdown measures. Who are the critics? And the WHO has just declared a global emergency. How long will it take to develop a vaccine? A vaccine is still a year away at minimum. Again, more and more bullshit. While the virus is serious public health concern, remains low, yet the panic is high. How contagious is the virus? And you can get into the article here about it all. But it just is about fear-mongering, folks, as they roll this out further to further their overall agenda. And it's cool to see doctors speaking out. Dr. Brownstein, coronavirus is nothing new. The Lancelot report is based on 41 laboratory-confirmed cases of the recent virus. Keep in mind the 15% fatality rate is the percentage of hospitalized patients suffering. There must be many, many more people who become ill and recovered uneventfully, and therefore they did not seek care. But did they count those? No, because that's not what they're wanting to find. Symptoms of the coronavirus initially mimic the flu. Here we go. Fever, headache, cough, fatigue, muscle aches. The 41 patients admitted to the hospital all developed pneumonia. Coronavirus is nothing new. It's been around for a very long time, as we talked about. And this is just out today, January 31st, 2020. CBS News, CBS News, coronavirus. They got their own category now up at the top. As the U.S. declares coronavirus a public health emergency. Here we go. CDC, WHO have all declared worldwide global emergency. 200 people have died. It's the common cold. It's the flu. Yet they're panic. Health and Human Services, Alex Azar, declared the coronavirus a public health emergency on Friday. Health officials issued a federal quarantine order for the 195 Americans evacuated from the epicenter of the outbreak in China. The group of the U.S. government workers, private American, will remain at a military base in Southern California. The order was announced from the State Department, warned Americans to avoid all travel to China due to the, quote, rapidly spreading outbreak. U.S. has now 6 out of 320 million people. The most recent being the first confirmed instance of this disease spreading person to person. Hyping the propaganda, setting the table, tick, 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 tick. We'll get to the whole quarantine thing in a minute, folks, but Japan confirms infections without symptoms, and the CDC's backing it up. No problem. If you don't have the symptoms, you could have the coronavirus. Are you kidding me? And here the article goes on to say a man in his 40s and a woman in her 50s do not have any signs of the infection, but they have tested positive. See what's happening? You reading the tape here? So not only is it invisible and you can't even show the symptoms, but we have the first case of a person-to-person transmission, confirmed 195 U.S. citizens in isolation, and the WHO declares a public emergency. So this is what they're doing here. And if you see this chart in the background, it's showing all the different issues now at the airport to, 98 confirmed cases in 18 countries. So, yeah, we're on it. We would have got 7 billion people on the planet, 98 confirmed cases, 0.000000. This is absolute mind control BS, folks. Says there's 7,711 cases and 107 people have died, 82 outside. Donald Trump announced the formation of a new task force by the Health and Human Services, Alex Azar, as in bizarre. So I want to bring your attention to this. Again, this is the Market Watch, Dow, New York Stock Exchange, Wall Street. Dow tumbles 450 points to at low, breaks beneath its 58 moving average as coronavirus fears spread. Now, we've had the impeachment trials going, invasions of Iran, sanctions against China, massive debt, yada, yada, yada. But very rarely did the markets even pause to go up to all-time record highs. Yet here they are, the pundits on Wall Street setting the meme, saying the 450, almost 500-point drop was due to the coronavirus fears. Uber hype on steroids. The hyperbole is off the hook. This is how we know this is part of their agenda. So I want to bring your attention to this in the public health of England at the airports. You notice they have the masks. Masks don't do anything. It's all another part of the hype. But here, look at all the different maladies, issues. If you have a cough, if you have a sore throat, if you have a runny nose, if you have a fever, if you have difficulty breathing. Who doesn't have one or all of these during the quote-unquote flu season? You are a candidate to be quarantined with the coronavirus. They're setting the stage. They're setting it up for the universal vaccine to come later. And who are they targeting? They're targeting the elderly. Oh, it's the most dangerous in the elderly. The coronavirus can cause symptoms ranging some severity from fever and fatigue to pneumonia and septic shock. Older people who are already sick before contracting seem to be getting hit hard. Going after the elderly, the baby doomers and above, folks. So here's a compilation of what's going down about the closures and whatnot of the airports. Just a few days ago, it was 5 airports were testing for the coronavirus, and now they've raised it to 20. This is all being overseen by Jesuit Mike Pence, overseeing the PSYOP. This is all to get the vaccine testing devices into the airports, and it's spreading. Hong Kong says they're going to slash border travel as virus spreads. Britain announced they were suspending flights as well. Here we see Delta and American Airlines now saying they're stopping all China flights, but if you get on the flight bookings and stuff, you can still book flights there, so they're lying again about that. And then down here on the lower right here, China coronavirus patients are infecting 2 or 3 other people, research estimates. So San Francisco, being proactive, and it is, activates the Emergency Operations Center as the U.S. orders China evacuations. And then we also have on a cruise ship was stranded at sea. Stranded. That's the word they use. Stranded at sea due to the coronavirus. Why don't they just turn around and go back home? But they're stranded at sea, they have to say. So this is all setting up the meme for the quarantines. And this has all been played out in the movies. You have the Game of the Year, Plague Inc. You have I Am Legend with Will Smith. And then you have Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow. Nothing spreads fear like contagion. Predictive programming all the way. And here we see that Bill Gates is caught funding the new Netflix docuseries Pandemic, where he is the hero. I guess Alex, the Shill Jones, came up with something about this. But again, just as all this is going on, Netflix is releasing a docuseries on the pandemic funded by Bill Gates. We'll get into his background again in just a little bit. And here we see them again setting the agenda. Tick, 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 tick. The U.S. reports the first case of person-to-person spread of the coronavirus. Again, it can be 2 weeks before the symptoms can even show up, so you won't even have the symptoms, and it's being passed person to person. Yet it gets worse. China is now ordering communities around the country to get rid of their pets or risk having them culled, amid fears that animals could catch the coronavirus and spread it. One village urged households to, quote, deal with their pets within 5 days. And you don't think that's coming to the United States and Britain and the rest of the world, telling you have to get rid of your pets and turning those people that don't have pets saying, you got to get rid of your pets because it could be spreading the disease. Fear, fear, fear. Just like those who are healthy and chose the non-vaxxed, non-sickness, non-toxicity vaccines, they turn them on them, and the herd instinct, you must get vaccinated to protect our children, even though our children have already been vaccinated against that which you oh gosh, I can't get even further in this. Your pets now, folks. Are you pissed yet? You better be. Mandatory quarantine being set up right now, and the pieces being put into place to make that happen. Well, it's already happening. But just let's go a little review of how this all got started. Bill and Gates from Hell, World Economic Forum, coronavirus outbreak simulation just 6 weeks before the, quote, outbreak, if it even is one. We take a look inside Event 201, which took place in New York City, October 18th. High-level pandemic exercise hosted by the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security and Partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates from Hell Foundation. This pandemic stimulation took place 6 weeks before. That is one hell of a coinky dinky. Another fascinating connection is that not only did Bill Gates and Foundation from Hell participate and help set up the pandemic stimulation, but they just so happened to fund the group who owns the patent to the deadly coronavirus. Remember they said that the patent might be a year away. No, patent's right here. And it was Gates from Hell who funded the Purebright Institute, which owns a patent on the coronavirus. The CDC owns the strain isolated from humans. So again, this was manufactured, man-made, and weaponized viral strain designed to sell more useless, deadly vaccines at the same time, killing off a few thousand, maybe millions, depending on what Gates from Hell decides to do. And here you see the United States patent application from the Purebright Institute. Here's another patent for the coronavirus isolated for the humans. All right, so this is all part, because they got to make money off it, profit from the disasters as well. It's all part of their depopulation agenda, but first get them feared, get them sick, get them shot up, milk them for all they're worth until we all become worth less. And so again, this is back to the New York Times article. Remember, how long will it take to develop a vaccine? It's still a year away at minimum. Bullshit. We got to stop the bullshit, folks. It's just overwhelming, and it's steeped in it. Stinking to high heaven, but there's lives at risk. All our lives, all our children's lives, our families' lives, and our pets' lives. Do you understand they're talking about making you kill your pets in order to prevent the virus from spreading? Think about that for just a little bit. So let's recall earlier that Trump says that they're mandating Mr. Azar of Health and Human Services to quarantine now at will. So this is an article from yesterday talking about foreigners airlifted from Chinese city at heart of coronavirus airways. All right, so this is a pretty telling article, so let's get into this. Dr. Braden said if an evacuee deemed a danger to the community insisted on leaving before the 72-hour period expired, we can institute an individual quarantine for that person, and we will. So I took that out of context, the article, just to tell you and show you that mandatory quarantines are at their will. So this was a group that went to China to pick it up at an Air Reserve base in Riverside. They landed in California. They're put into waiting buses and instructed them to remain on the base for 3 days of medical screening. Only then are they cleared, will they be allowed to continue on home. So they got in these planes, these evacuees, United States workers and government workers and whatnot, and they didn't have any protections inside the planes, the pilots. Now, do you remember when the Ebola virus broke out and they had to get in all these special planes and they had to quarantine these tents outside the hospitals? Yet they're willy-nilly flying in the planes until they get to the United States, and now we got the biohazmats. The authorities, however, were at pains to say it was not a quarantine. However, carefully, the health authorities chose their words. The evacuees in the United States, for example, appeared to be, for all practical purposes, quarantined. They will also be monitored for 14 days by medical teams in their own communities when they go home. Can you talk home invasion? In Australia, Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who goes on vacation while Australia is burning, said citizens evacuated from Wuhan would be held for a 2-week quarantine on Australian Immigration Detention Center. Do you remember we talked about the ship, how they held the ship at bay? Remember talked about the homeless earlier being put on ships? You see where this is all going, folks? At South Korea's National Police Agency said that it instructed its officers that they have the power to detain people who are suspected of carrying the coronavirus and refuse to be quarantined. Remember, they're saying the symptoms doesn't show up for 2 to 14 days, and if you got a runny nose, you're going to be a suspect, and if you don't let us detain you and check you out, we're going to arrest you anyway. We're respecting the rights of them as individuals. Bull fucking shit, said Dr. Nancy Knight, a senior official at the Federal Center for Disease and Prevention, who owns patents on the coronavirus. We are doing that in a way that protects their health of the uniformed service members, and the health of the community. As it spreads globally, the new coronavirus, which was first discovered in China last month, has begun to infect people who never visited China. Where's the facts? Where's the evidence? Where is the proof? It's just on say-so. And again, this is not some random publication talking like this. I mean, this is the New York Times citing things that just making stuff up. No citing, no proof, no confirming people's names. Just it began to infect people who never visited China. Where's your proof? Where's the story you're getting this from? What kind of journalism, corporate news media reporting is this? By early Thursday, there were confirmed reports of infections like 16 countries and 7,700 cases, topping the SARS outbreak. The additional death toll stood at 170. Let's do the math, folks. So here we have 7 billion people divided by 170 deaths. Oh, got it reversed. And we get 2 to the minus 11th. That's 11 zeros and a 2. 0.00000000000 and 0.02% through all this fear-mongering. Are you kidding me? I wish I was. As countries evacuated the citizens from Wuhan, among the France, South Korea, Morocco, Germany, Kazakhstan, Britain, Canada, Russia, the Netherlands, and Myanmar, commercial airlines curtailed service to China. British and Air Canada suspended the flights altogether. Get on there, folks, and see if they're still booking flights. I'm being told they are. Some Americans remained stranded. Family members were incensed to learn that the Boeing 747 had taken off with empty seats. Some passengers lacked the proper documentation, and others did not show up. Now, here's another thing to notice, folks, that we're not seeing in the news. Are you seeing people going hungry in Wuhan? They had the fake news coming out and people saying, oh, the government's not doing anything. And you saw the news stories. You're not seeing those anymore. Now it's day lockdown of the whole country supposed to be in lockdown, nothing coming in, knocking, going out. Where's their food supplies coming from? How are they eating? Is the waste being piled up? Is remember New York lost their power for 2 weeks? What happened there with all the garbage bags on the roof? Where's the reports out of Wuhan of the people starving, struggling, and the deaths and the sicknesses coming in? You're not seeing them on the news reports anymore. All they're doing is promoting the agenda now of shutting down the flights, quarantining people. I mean, this is a major league psyop for a reason. Moving on. Families were incensed to learn they'd been left behind. Some passengers lacked documentation. 200 passengers were evacuated, not the expected 240. What, they couldn't get rid of them or couldn't get them? These are supposedly U.S. government workers. They sent a plane to get out. Okay. When asked whether other flights were planned, State Department officials said it continues to work with the Chinese authorities. At least one American chose not to board the flight. English teacher had a lingering cough and was afraid she would instead be handed over to the Chinese officials. Why would she be afraid if the U.S. government is sending over a plane? I'd be more afraid to be quarantined by the U.S. government and put out to Guantanamo Bay or one of the underground bases or one of the FEMA camps and never heard from again. That's what I'd be fearing. In the text to her mother, don't freak out. I was offered a seat and I surrendered to a 10-year-old girl. Why would you surrender the seat to a 10-year-old girl if there was 40 seats left available? God, New York Times. The number of confirmed cases in China increased by nearly 30% from Wednesday to Thursday. Oh, it went up from 660 to 700. So what? So what? So I'll just close with this, and I've got part 2 coming out. We do have some mitigations, some placements, magnetic placements that Dr. Garcia has had for a while. The coronavirus could be anything at all. You have to check for many different placements. There's not just one. We'll do that. And then also in another part, we're going to get into how they're going to initiate what we all are having, and they are just bring it out in us to have the effects of the flu symptoms or the pneumonia symptoms or whatever symptoms they want. We can be targeted in different areas, different age groups, whatever, and have those symptoms appear. So they could break it out in many, many different areas, and we'll cover that in the next 2 videos. But here you can see the MERS, the bird flu, the Ebola, the smallpox, the Spanish flu, the polio, and now it puts the fatality rate below 3%. But again, they're selling the hype and saying it spreads faster. Even the measles spreads faster. But the coronavirus, they're saying, it doesn't spread that much. So why are they talking so much about how fast it all spreads? Because it's all part of a much longer agenda to get everybody sick. Probably kill off a lot of people, folks. Just prepare. Probably see if you're going to take out your pets to protect yourself in the fear. Selling masks like crazy, even though they don't do any good. Yet they got everybody putting them on because they got the population completely ignorant. So again, according to legend, we've had massive die-offs in 1720, the plague in 1820, cholera, the Spanish flu, which could have very well been vaccine-induced in 1920, and now we got the 2020. Seems to be 20 is a big number year for them every millennium. And again, the Umbrella Corp is Wuhan's ultra biohazard lab, which is only about 20 miles from where they said they were handling the world's most dangerous pathogens. But folks, look at the logo. Look at these guys' logo. What is the symbol here? Knights of Malta, Jesuits, Vatican. In your face. And then we have just bizarre stories like this from yesterday. Chinese researcher escorted from infectious disease lab amongst RCMP military police investigation. So again, targeting the Chinese. Now, what do the Chinese make? Let me think about it. Oh yeah, they make every single product the U.S. consumes. What if we get into a war with China and they close off China and nothing gets out because it's possibly contaminated? What happens to all our goods and services that we rely on for everything? Setting up the blame game, a researcher with ties to China was escorted out of the National Microbiology Lab into Winnipeg amid an RCMP investigation. It's a level 4 virology lab equipped to work with the most serious and deadly human and animal diseases. Security access for the couple and Chinese students was revoked. Again, more fear-mongering. And here's an article about Wuhan City has 10,000 5G base stations for monitoring everything for, quote, the convenience of the city. Also, Wuhan is designated as one of the up-and-coming major new smart cities, just like in Australia where they're attacking them as well. So the 5G network is all over the 18 million people in Wuhan. And I kid you not, they're making the 5G bases help to fight the coronavirus. Get 5G, prevent coronavirus. Huawei builds 5G base stations to help to fight the coronavirus. Is this beyond the pale of sanity? Absolutely. They set up a team of 150 people to prevent the eruption. What are they going to do? Zap the coronavirus? No, they're going to be reading every single person and reading their waves. It's just with all the small cells. Again, this is just beyond the pale. And folks, please let's look out for our brothers and sisters in the continent of Africa. Hundreds of millions of locusts ravage Africa in the largest outbreak in 70 years. While all this is going on, the people of Africa, what does that do to their crops? What does that do to their food supply? Is this another tentacle of the many hydrid beasts for the depopulation 2020 agenda? I don't know. We're going to keep an eye on it, but just wanted to bring your attention. This isn't being brought up to any of the major news sources where I can see. And again, as depopulation agenda specialist Henry the Dick Kissinger said, control the oil, control the nation, control the food, control the people. Governments around the world are considering taxing red meat like tobacco in an effort to curb climate change. You may remember when they murdered thousands of camels because of flatulence and climate change in Australia? Well, now they're going after beef. This is the Impossible Burger, the Beyond Meat, the super meats that don't require any type of beet. It's all a petri dish culture, so they're not going to need animals anymore. So while they're killing off your pets, are they going to be killing off livestock, chickens, pigs, and beef? I hate to think this way, folks, but we got to bring it to the surface. Why are they talking about taxing red meat? Because it's part of climate change. Please, folks, tell me when climate's not changing and get back to me, okay? And again, connecting dots, this is from January 28th, just in the same week. Whole food shoppers report food shortages and empty shelves at some stores as companies face supplier issues. Why would that be? Why can't they get food? Is this another meme that they're doing the predictive programming because there's going to be a shortage of food? Question out there. You decide. And it's not just the animals, folks. It's the fish life. The ocean is getting so acidic it's dissolving crabs' shells. So the crab life out here in the crab seasons, we don't have them anymore out here in California because the crabs just don't show up anymore. They're blaming the fishermen for catching the crabs and the propellers and hurting the whales and yada, yada, yada. But the fact is, the crabs are going extinct. Kind of been around here for millions of years, but they're going extinct. So I'm sorry to be such Debbie Downer, folks, but this is the way it looks like it's playing out here. Again, I told you 2020, astrology-wise, was going to be a major, major event upheaval, and we're certainly seeing that just at the end of the first month of the year. If it continues on like this, you can imagine how much more intense it's going to get. So prepare yourself. Those that fail to prepare, prepare to fail. So this is from Dr. Garcia's Biomagnetic Bible. I'll be doing another video on we have healing protocols. We have magnetic placements. Dr. Garcia has been dealing with the coronavirus for a very long time. And again, it's many symptoms. You can't just do one placement and say, there, I'm done, because you're dealing with other issues. And as Dr. Garcia will say in the next video I'll show you, he's talking about that the coronavirus is activating some things we already have. So there has to be more of a multiple clearing. But again, we have answers. We're going to be able to mitigate a lot of this, and I'll be presenting this in the next video or the one after that. So thanks for listening. We do have answers. It's not going to be all, doom and gloom as they bring this stuff out. You may not want to travel. You may want to cancel your visits to Aunt Harriet's house, because just hunkering down and staying at home, the hospitals and the airports are going to be set up for mandatory vaccine screening for this vaccine, universal vaccine. They're going to be screening everybody. They're going to be quarantining people at will on a cruise ship, off the plane, whatever. So traveling just may not be what you want to do until this all blows over and plays out. We'll have to see how it goes. All right, plain truth for you, and don't give in to the fear, folks. Love one another, and we're going to get through this, over this, around this, and by this. But these mofos will not win. We know what they're doing. We see what they're doing. Let's shine our light bright, and the darkness no longer hides. When you shine your light into the darkness, it is no longer darkness. It's really, really important you understand this. When you shine your light into the darkness, it's no longer darkness. What is it? What is it? It's your frickin' shadow. You own the darkness. This is why I shine the light. I own this darkness. It'll never own me again, because I see it. They have to operate in the dark, and we're the light. Shine your light bright, all. Others can see the path better because of that. Thanks, peace, and love one another always.